Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello guys, good morning everyone. Uh, First of all, thank you for our lecture, Pak Dekan, Pak Fakri Hamdani, and of course, Mr. Ruli Agung Widiantara. And then, of course, thank you for our partner in this group, Marfa and Halsey. Uh, so, right now we are going to explain about language and culture. So, let me introduce our group. The first speakers is me, Mira Fitriani, and then the second speakers is Marfa Maurilia Taufik, and the last speakers is Helshi Selfida Sribarinto. Okay, so next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, and then uh, relationship between language and culture. According to Janet Holmes, 2012, he says that language and culture are always connected. Language is not just about words and grammar, but it also shows the values, traditions, and ways of thinking of a community. For example, in Aboriginal English in Australia, people often use silence and indirect answers. For them, uh, this is polite, but teachers or lawyers sometimes misunderstand it because they expect quick and direct answers. This shows that without knowing the culture, communication can fail. And then about connection to ALT. This idea is very important in teaching English. When we teach language, we also need to teach cultural awareness. If not, students may still be confused when they meet people from other culture, even if they know the grammar. And about Indonesian context, in Indonesia, we can see the same thing. In English classes, many students keep silent when asked questions, and then this silence doesn't always mean they don't know, but sometimes it shows politeness or fear of making mistakes. And another example is when teachers explain grammar in bahasa Indonesia. This code switching helps students understand better and respect their cultural background, and it makes learning easier and more comfortable. So, a language and culture cannot be separated. Teaching English also means teaching how culture shapes communications. And by understanding this, teachers in Indonesia uh, can help students learn English more effectively. Okay, and for the next material, will be presented by Marva.
Okay, thank you for the time. Next slide, please.
Wait a minute.
Okay. Before that, okay, while we wait, and now I will talk about cultural differences in communication style. Generally speaking, politeness involves contributing to social harmony and avoiding social conflict. More specifically, linguistic politeness involves discourse strategies or linguistic devices which are perceived or evaluated by others as having been used to maintain harmonious relations and avoid causing trouble. Miriam Meyerhoff discussed verbal politeness as a key way speakers manage social relationships through language. Drawing on Goffman's concept of face and Brown's and Levinson's politeness theory, the chapter explains how speakers attend to both positive face, the desire to be liked and included, and negative face, the desire not to be imposed upon, when interacting. Because many speech acts, such as requests or criticisms, are facing threatening, people employ politeness strategies to mitigate their impact. Negative politeness strategies emphasize difference and indirectness to reduce imposition, while positive politeness strategies highlight solidarity, friendliness, and shared identity. Choices of strategy are influenced by social variables including power differences, social distance, and the cost of imposition, and these choices vary across cultures and language. For example, through the use of honorific forms in Japanese. The chapter emphasized that politeness involves not only grammatical competence but also sociolinguistic and pragmatic competence. As speakers, we must understand both how to form utterance and how to use them appropriately in context. Mayor Hoff also notes that while Brown and Levinson's framework is influential, notions of politeness differ across cultures, highlighting the need to consider variation and context in understanding interaction. Meanwhile, Janet Holmes focused on gender, politeness, and stereotypes. It explores how language both reflects on constructs gender identities, as well as how politeness is differently perceived in men's and women's speech. Holmes explained that gender is not simply biological, but also a social construct that shapes communication styles. Research shows that women are often stereotyped as more polite, supportive, and cooperative speakers, while men are perceived as more direct, competitive, or dominant. The chapter examines how these stereotypes influence expectation in conversation, such as women being expected to use more hedges, take question, and politeness markers, while men may use interruptions or assertive forms more frequently. Holmes also highlights the role of community of practice in shaping linguistic norms, meaning that gendered speech patterns are not universal but depend on social context, cultural norms, and group membership. Importantly, the chapter challenged simplistic stereotypes by variation with gender and by pointing out how power relations, setting, and purpose of interaction influence language use. Overall, the discussion emphasized that gender differences in language are best understood as socially situated practice rather than rigid, fixed categories. Next slide, please. Okay, now for the example. In Indonesia, politeness is often marked through speech levels and pronoun choice. For example, when a student talks to a lecturer, they may use more index forms. For the example like, maaf Bu, boleh saya minta izin keluar sebentar? Instead of directly saying saya mau keluar, this shows negative politeness, avoiding imposition by using an apology and indirect request. Gender stereotypes also appear in Indonesian interaction. Women are often expected to use softer forms such as kayaknya, mungkin, boleh ya, or tag-like expression kan gitu, which reflect cooperation and attentiveness. Men, on the other hand, are more tolerated when using direct or commanding styles, like tolong ambilin dulu, without softeners. Both cases illustrate that in Indonesian society, politeness strategies and expectations about men's and women's speech are shaped not just by language structure, but also by cultural norms, power relations, and social rules. Okay, for the next material will be held by Healthy.
Okay, thank you, Marfa. So, for the third is about teaching interculture. Sorry. So for the third is teaching intercultural competence in English classroom. So, there are three main points. The first one is basic concepts of intercultural competence. Second one is why is intercultural competence important in English classes? And the third is intercultural competence teaching strategy. So for the first is basic concept of intercultural competence. According to Holmes, 2013, emphasizes that language is a social tool through the study of language in its social context. We can understand how people use language to create, maintain, and express their social identities and relationships. Holmes 2013 1. Therefore, teaching English must also include how native and non-native speakers use it to interact in various social and cultural contexts. Next, why is intercultural competence important in English classes? English as a lingua franca or ELF, Holmes 2013. The concept of ELF or English as a lingua franca in which from various linguistic backgrounds use English to communicate with one another. The majority of interaction in English around the world do not involve native speakers at all. Instead, English is being used as a lingua franca or ELF among speakers who do not share a common first language. Holmes 2013 4. This shows that the native speaker this shows that the native speaker's model is not always relevant. And next, about intercultural competence teaching strategy. Teaching strategies should focus on awareness, knowledge, and skills. Meyerhoff 2019 suggests a good way to introduce sociolinguistics is to encourage students to become ethnographers of their own speech community. Meyerhoff 2019 apply this approach to broader communities and encourage them to analyze language used in movies, TV shows, or real conversations. Holmes 2013 emphasized the importance of reflection by becoming aware of our own and others' sociolinguistic variation. We can develop a deeper understanding of how language is used to express and create social meaning. Holmes 2013 18. So that's all for my material, and I will give to the moderator.
I thank you so much for the speakers. That was so insightful, and I hope these materials that we deliver uh, was useful for everyone. And so, thank you so much for the attentions. And then we apologize for any mistakes. And thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.